Alright, welcome back to Fighting Wings. This is Jesse. Today we have an awesome new car that I want to review, and my friend Trai with us. This is Trai's Lexus IS350 with some pretty cool mods. Now let's do it. Alright, so we're going to start out by driving this car around a little bit. I want to give a first impression. Overall, it's nice being in a big car with all these climate controls. It's a big change from the 8.6 to be able to actually feel like you're in a bit of a luxury car. I feel comfortable. These seats are really nice, so this is really cool. Let's get it out on the street and see how it is. It's like 30% throttle. Ooh. Actually shuffles around a corner really nice.
Yeah, it stays relatively planted. It's just, I find over the bumps and humps, the car's very bouncy. And that's due to the teen dampers. They're not really that good. I need to get upgraded ones. Go for, like I said, Flex Z's or something. I think that's the next options.
So let's do a first impression here. My car is 200 horsepower. Let's see what this thing is like in sport mode. Downshift it. Woo! That VQ sound.
It's very VQ sounding.
Well, that is a difference. Man, this thing feels like it has get up. It feels.
Yeah, it moves. It moves pretty good. And that's quite conservative.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna be rough on her.
That's quite conservative. It moves pretty good.
Yeah, I actually like the paddles in this car. It feels good.
They're nice. It just if it was a little bit snappier, it would be maybe a little more responsive. It's just there's just too much of a delay.
Yeah. Thought there was a maker there.
Looks kind of a yucky hill there.
I mean, the last big car I drove was like a V6 Ford Fusion.
Oh, yeah?
And so this has a whole extra car on top of it somewhere for power.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Like, what power do you think it's kind of making right now?
So stock is 306 at the crank, so I think they make like close to 260 at the wheel after all the mushy drivetrain losses. And then since it's tuned with the exhaust situation there, and I have the Canon high flow filter, drop-in filter there.
Let's take it through a corner real quick here. Man, it feels solid and straight going around a corner.
It absorbs well enough with the suspension, but over humps it wallops. That's what I noticed. It really does this over the humps, but it takes the corner well, which is nice.
True, yeah.
The spring rate's just too soft.
Yeah, I mean, it feels comfortable. Like, as far as being like, you have automatic climate controls, it feels like it's not just eating you alive.
It's a nice balanced car in regards to being a, you can get on it a little bit and have confidence in it, but at the same time, it's not like a fully stripped out race car. You know, like there's balance between, there's a little bit of performance in it, but at the same time, it's got its refinement from Lexus still, which is nice.
Yeah, it feels Lexus-y.
Yeah.
Wait for this guy.
But yeah, it's probably 275 to the wheel or something, or somewhere in that region. Also, the LSD will help put the power down. increase the power, but it'll help put it down and just get consistency through it, so it's nice.
What was the stock differential like in this car?
It was just a standard open differential.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just your classic one-wheel peeler, but it has, I guess, computer integration, you know, through like, I think it's called VDIM or whatever. And what it does is it's like the electric, it's controlled through traction control and ABS. So it'll try and put the power down by limiting power, braking and such, but it doesn't really work great.
And do you like drive it with traction control on or off?
When I'm doing spirited driving, I obviously best way is traction control off, but it's fun.
Really hope that's coming out on the camera.
Yeah.
A little bit of a pop.
Yeah, you get the little pops and the exhaust.
And so like, what do you actually use this car for at this point in time?
Mainly just sunny day. If I'm feeling it, go for a little boot or something, or if I gotta go somewhere like into town, I'll hop in it. But most days I'm just too tired from work and kind of just keep it. I've driven it probably less than 3,000 kilometers this year.
And 120,000 kilometers ish. How many of those have you put on? Do you think?
I've had the car since 83,000 kilometers.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, you know, since my ownership's been 40,000.
Yeah, it's actually pretty similar to my FR-S. It's
Yeah?
37, 38 right now.
Okay.
I put 36 on those.
Yeah, it's essentially new when you got it.
No, but this feels like clean. It feels happy.
Yeah.
I can kind of tell what you say about the suspension, but like I'm on stock everything right now.
Yeah.
So comparatively, it actually feels kind of in range.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's put it around a couple corners. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, how much does this weigh?
3,500 pounds roughly. So I say like 36, and then plus pass the people in the car.
Yeah.
So it's 4,000 with us in here.
No, I feel like it, like, at least the way that you've done it, it feels planted. It feels like the back end trails in nicely. It feels like you know exactly what you're going to expect kind of going around a corner.
Yeah, it's predictable. It's predictable.
I can see what you say about kind of like the resonant bounce, but it's also very comfy.
It's very comfy. So that's the balance part of it. Yeah, when I had my I had Coney yellows in the rear, and dampers were massively stiff.
And you mentioned like tune. Is this car actually like ECU tuned?
Yeah, it's got a flash tune from RR Racing.
Do you have like launch control and stuff? Or?
No, it's just basically brings up the rev limit, and it I guess they adjust fuel napping and such, and timing and this and that, right? But
How did that go? Does it feel better than stock?
oh yeah, mid range is way better. I noticed, and the power carries all the way through to the top, which is nice as well, because these cars, the power literally just comes to a cut on the OEM dyno.
Work for it. I'm like dropping a gear or two if I need power on demand.
Yeah, you really have to use the full extent of your vehicle to get the power out of them. They came underpowered, I believe. Like, they're great cars, the FR-S. They are. They really are a great car. Like, the idea of them, the power that they have is just, that's the one gripe that everybody says. Like, it just needs like 30 more horsepower, and it would have been like way better.
So I'm not taking a risk here.
So the motor's called the 2GR FSE, and it's shared with the GS350. It's shared with the RX 450H, the RX 350, and a couple of siblings across the globe. But yeah, it's their high compression 11:8:1 or 10:8:1, 10:8:1.
Oh, okay.
11:8:1. Yeah, I think it's 11:8:1. 11:8:1 compression. So it's pretty high compression. It's got the D4S system. I think that's what it is. D4S.
Yeah, D4S.
I wasn't sure if it was
Direct.
DS4 or D4S. So it's D4S. Obviously, it's twin injection. We call it port and direct injection.
And so what's the reliability been like when you kind of got it versus now, do you think? I know you don't drive a ton, but...
Yeah, reliability, I haven't had to replace anything, like, besides like, wearable
Brakes.
items, right? Like tires and brakes.
And are you able to change the valve in the fly that you put it in? Like while you're driving?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just keep holding.
That sounds quieter.
Yeah, just keep holding it. It's probably good now. Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
so this is the car in quiet mode.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very quiet.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like it is OEM. I'd call it OEM at that point, even with the rear high flow cats.
Let's do some downshifts. Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
What a VIP car.
Yes. I have it. I mean, catch can, because it's a vented catch can. And then when you have the air coming through.
Wow, that valve closed. Whole different car.
It's a whole different car.
So from being able to drive this car for the first time, I've definitely been in it and I've seen it quite a bit. It feels honestly like a car that is planted to the road. Of course, you have weight, you have a little bit of roll, and Trai's done everything he can to try to really correct that. And there's some bigger plans in the future for this car that'll keep going down that road. But putting around a corner feels basically as flat as my little FR-S, which feels awesome. And as soon as you get on the power, you have power, and you can shut it all down and get back into a nice civilized driving experience, which is pretty cool. And I think it's something that really appeals to a lot of different demographics. And of course, being a Toyota or a Lexus, we're not concerned every time this car starts up. You can start this car up, you can drive it halfway across the country without an issue, or you could take it on a spirited drive or some kind of an event and not have an issue with it. And actually really, really enjoy yourself. So this is a car that I actually really do recommend, if that's a thing. It's a car that I would love to potentially have some experience with personally in the future. And it's a car that I'm really glad to have on the channel here today. And now, of course, compared to the 8.6, we're almost 1,000 pounds in certain conditions heavier. We have 4 doors, so it's a huge trade-off. My FR-S feels like a little sports car. It feels like a go-kart sometimes. I'm still pretty stock on most things. This car is somewhat modified. But at the end of the day, it creates a beautiful trade-off between actually being able to use it comfortably, still being a Toyota Lexus, so you're not really worried about it, and it can go around a corner very impressively, and has a whole heck of a lot more power. Even if it's an auto, I kind of got used to driving these paddles pretty quickly at the end of the day. All right, so I mean, we've had a chance to actually drive the car around. Absolutely love it for a kind of, I guess it's medium body, big body, medium body.
Standard sedan size. I mean, like, since I don't drive it much, no matter what I get into it, it's still like a nice experience. Like, it drives good, so like no matter what, it's always like, get to drive the Lexus today. You know, it's sunny out or clear, no rain or snow or anything. You know, I just get to drive it. It's kind of nice. So, you know, I get on it every once in a while, but try to stay conservative. But yeah, no, it makes you smile. It's definitely like a step up from the truck or a step up from the Corolla. So it's
Yeah.
nice. I mean, speaking cars, like, we both went to the University of Windsor, right? My first car when I met you was 99 A4 1.T. I believe that was the
Oh
first car I
yeah,
had.
wow, I forgot about the A4.
Yeah, and it was a really broken car. It was cheap, and I got burned on it, but I mean, it is what it is. It's my first car, and I learned lessons. Somewhere in me still loves that car, you know. They had great body lines. This was a nice looking car, the A4.
Great.
You know, my dream car at the time was that, but the S4, right? But again, those are also problems. So afterwards, I ended up getting the Ford Focus. I had a Ford Focus ZX4.
Oh yeah.
Base, 100% base, no air conditioning, no no nannies. Like, it was all roll-up windows, manual locks. Like, it was, but that car ran great. Got it for $3,500. Drove it until I was tired of it. Gave it to my sister. She drove it. She said she hated it, but honestly, it would have lasted until now at least. I guarantee it. I had a base model 2002 RSX, cloth seats, no AC. It did have auto locks. Threw a little deck in it, and it was your classic K20 A3 with like 160 horsepower, something like that, 140 foot-pounds of torque. Great little car though. Put some suspension into it, and it had an exhaust on it. It was manual, and it was the cloth buckets though, and I liked it. It was a great car, and I actually have not come across a base model RSX since then with the cloth buckets. So great car though. I definitely enjoyed it. It got written off, unfortunately, and I had AP1 S2000 wheels on it. And
oh yeah,
it was a great little car. So I enjoyed it, but unfortunately, its time ended. So, yeah. And then after that, the next car I had was I had a '98 Acura Integra GS. It had like the gold trim limited edition kind of style stuff over like the vent covers, and silver around the bezel on the cluster and such, and it was an auto, and I put the K20A2 into that. That was my next car, and it was a bit of a hack up, but it was a temporary situation until I was ready to get it finished. And then unfortunately rest in peace to that car. That car was unfortunately written off, and I salvaged what I could from it. I had the AP1 rims on that as well. And then I sold the motor, sold the K-Pro, and eventually I said, hey, forget it. I'll just go get myself into payments and get myself a car. So I got into some payments with this thing. The way I came into the 2007 IS350 was I was looking for a car that had a nice blend of characteristics. I wanted a car that, suited my lifestyle. I find it's a little more of a mature car in a sense. I was moving away from Hondas that were a little older, and it's not to say that Hondas aren't mature and you can't have fun with them. Like, it's not a diss or anything like that, but I wanted something that was more suited to my style of life. So it had like, the leather, Lexus has this, it's a Lexus kind of thing to it. So it carries a little bit of weight, I guess, in a sense. And I've always been a fan of Toyota cars. So to have a Toyota was always something that mattered to me because I know they're reliable. It had good power. It was over 300 horsepower at the crank. So, I mean, you can still have fun with it. And it was a direct competitor with the 335, I believe. I might be wrong, but it's in that same area.
I would see it, yeah.
And I love sedans. Sedans are my thing. It's just, I've always liked the body lines on sedans. So the 350 it suits me. I don't want to call it a backup car, but it is at times my backup car. Say, for instance, my truck's getting serviced, or my fiance's car is getting serviced, so she gets to drive this while I drive my truck, or she drives a truck while I drive her Corolla, especially through the summer and warmer months, fall and the spring as well. But it is the car that I do like to do some spirited driving, say perhaps, drive the speed limit on some country roads and enjoy all aspects of the car. It's got heated seats, it's got cooled seats, it's got all the cool stuff, and it drives good.
And so let's just take me through the mod progress so far. What's it got on it today?
So the list of mods, we can start with like performance upgrades, under the hood at least. Under the hood, or on the computer, it's got I have an exhaust cutout, so that's I can close and open that, and it allows for higher flowing in the higher RPMs. I have a K&N drop-in filter. I was running the InGen short ram cold air intake, and I found that apparently it robs power. It can, depending on situations. The way this car's engine bay is set up, it really just pulls a lot of warm air in, so went with the drop-in, and it'll pull better cold air through there. It's got high flow rear cats, and then in the suspension I'm running Teen Endura Pro Plus dampers. I'm running H&R springs, poly lower control arm bushings in the front. I'm running, what else do I got in there? I got M Sport rotors up front with a good performance pad up front as well. I'm running a Hawk pad in the rear. Oh, and VLAN tails. That's what I got, VLAN tail lights.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
They look so natural in it.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do. That's what I'm running on it, though. I don't think I have any more performance upgrades.
Where do you see yourself going? What do you really want to do to it? What are you planning to do to it?
Well, going forward, I would like to obviously like get a bucket seat, you know, just because driving it spirited is not always fun when you're fighting the car and the seat.
Yeah.
I'd like to upgrade the rad, go to a higher cooling efficient or more efficient rad, and then definitely find a way to upgrade the power. In the future, it's either I go with an option of trying to upgrade this motor, which is troublesome for many, and then you run into transmission issues in regards to being able to hold the power.
Mm-hmm.
So the next option is changing the power plant. So in the future, maybe an LS or an LQ swap. It's definitely financially responsible to do that, aside from trying to upgrade this motor and then run into issues and roadblocks in the end. So a T56 transmission with a LQ4 or an LQ9 or an LS, if I can get my hands on one for a reasonable price, then that is definitely an option for me. They make kits to swap, so like comes with like the oil pan and this and that and everything you need more or less to at least get your foot in the door and you can figure out the troubles ahead. But for the most part, I think an LS or an LQ swap is
geese.
Yeah,
the geese
is that
are
a bald
here.
eagle? No, definitely an option though. Definitely to do an LS or LQ. The power is just insane that you can yield from them. So, and I want a manual.
Yeah.
In regards to advice, like, do your thing. Like, whatever makes you happy with your cars. As much as, you know, might say like, you know, pop bang tunes are yucky or, you know, doing stance is silly. Like, you know, a car is a canvas. So like, you paint it as you want. So I'm performance and I like to go fast. That's my thing. I'm speed driven. So that's the route that I like to take. I'm not much of a drag racer, but if you like to drag race, drag race. You know, if you like to take your car to the circuit, take it to the circuit. Just, I mean, drive within your limits and drive responsibly as much as you can. And I understand that, you know, everybody likes, you know, the people that do like cars in the car community, all bicker and stuff. But hey, man, you know, we all have the same interests as cars. So, yeah.
How did you originally get into cars, just as a person?
Well, I think some of us are born with it. Like, we have this bug that's just in us. Some of us just pump oil, man. I don't know what it is, but it's just our thing. But initially, it was actually, I think my interest was sparked from my uncle, my mother's uncle. He's a great guy. He's always been interested in cars. He's always had Mustangs and trucks. He's always working on them, and it's all of his tools all the time. I was just fascinated with like fixing things. As a child, I'd go to the doctor's office and see the wooden car with a broken wheel and be like trying to fix it. Like, I always enjoyed automotive creations and such. So it was always my aspiration to get into cars.
Thank you so much for joining us. This, to me, is a car I've always considered that if our other daily driver had an issue, I would love an IS250, IS350, something that's just that reliable, fine point between a big body JDM car and a little sports car, but it gives you a lot of overhead to modify. So I want to thank Trai for joining us today and bringing this, I'm going to call it the Silver Surfer IS350. And I really hope this review means something to you. I hope you can learn something from it. I hope this is a new opinion. Let us know in the comments if you have any kind of feedback, if there's anything you really liked about this car, anything that Trai should consider doing to this car you may not have thought of before. And I really appreciate you coming back, watching the channel. Hope everybody is happy and healthy out there. Again, this is Jesse. This is Smiling with Wings. Thank you, Trai. Thank you to this IS350. Hope to see you back here soon.